What's up, family? It is your boy, Minister Jamin Harris. I'm here with Minister Naomi. We're back for another episode of Cross Perspectives where faith meets real relevant conversation, no filters, no fluff, just raw, honest dialogue. We're excited because we finally got our part two today. We got Pastor Laphon back with us in
I'm
the
back. I'm
house.
back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm so glad to be back. I'm so glad to be back.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Look, last time we had such a good conversation, and the conversation seemed to be centered around like this welcome to ministry theme and, how to navigate ministry from a newness perspective. So today we want to dive deeper and kind of get to that next level where we look at now that we accepted the call, now that we're in ministry, kind of going beyond the call. And so let's start. Obviously, it's Lent season. What you have going on?
The fast got me weak. The
Oh.
fast got me weak.
I know that's right.
No, but it's a great time of the year. It's the busy season in the church. So for me, I'm something every single
Super
day.
Bowl.
And so it's been a great time, especially since we're in Holy Week now. And so God is really good just to be able to walk in these steps with Jesus, as I've been teaching our churches. I'm working with the ministerium in the West Mifflin and Homestead community. And so we are talking about actually taking the footsteps with Jesus, not just talking about the movie, The Passion of the Christ, and saying we know what he went through, but actually take the moments to see what Jesus actually went through. So I'm excited about that.
So, what churches are you connected with over on that side of town?
So we have, it's called right now the West Mifflin Ministerium. However, we're shifting it to the community ministries.
Okay.
And it is a collection of the Second Baptist Church of Homestead, First Baptist Church of West Mifflin, Morning Star Baptist Church of West Mifflin, and the St. John Baptist Church of Wilmerding.
Okay.
And so we are just a collection of churches that come together and just do special services. We give scholarships to our kids and do different things like that.
I heard you were out in them streets for the protest. You all came together to, do some activism on that for the young boy who died in front of Kennywood.
Oh, so we actually, I happened to be out of town during all of that,
Okay.
all of that stuff. However, I am definitely looking forward to having some more conversations to be a part of that work, because we got a lot of work to do when the people who are supposed to be serving and protecting us are the ones hunting and killing us now.
Yeah.
And especially kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. And so we got to have real conversations with the police department, with the borough council, whatever. We got to have some real conversations very soon, because that's not a good look.
Yeah. It's nice to see that the churches are coming together to make a stand. We were talking with Dr. John Welsh about that, and he had mentioned your role in social activism.
Mm-hmm.
Are you taking that similar role in this setting as well?
So I work with the Baptist Ministers Conference. I just so happened to be a part of the Baptist Ministers Conference, and then we were in a meeting, and we were discussing all the things that were going on in the world, the things that were going on in our very communities, how ICE was right in our very communities, how people in our very congregations were losing health care, or their premiums were skyrocketing. And so we just said we had to do something. And so our first step, what we did with the Baptist Ministers Conference, is we got together and we're doing a open letter to the community and to our elected leaders.
Okay.
And we're trying to get our clergy to sign on, and do, our churches to sign on. But as I think we talked about a little bit last time when I was here, the work of collaboration in our city is very hard.
Yes.
Getting people to work together is hard. But I think what Dr. Welch is trying to do with the Baptist Ministers Conference and some of the other leaders in the area, bringing us together, is a great work that is needed now more than ever. Because if we're going to do
Absolutely.
something, we got to do it together.
I think this is a great segue into talking about, ministry is more than just being in front of the people on Sundays and preaching. It's more than sound bites and clips on social media. Like, it's actual tedious work where you are rolling up your sleeves
Yeah.
and you're getting in there. So how do you balance all of your responsibilities without being burnt out?
I, I don't know. God, the Spirit, no. I really am trying to manage each and every day.
Mhm.
I try to find my ways to withdraw. I try to live like Jesus. Whenever you see him in scripture, he does all his work. He does the big miracles, but every so often you see him withdraw to the mountaintop.
You need a
Go
break.
away to pray. Listen, so I'm a person that you won't hear from me. I'll go away. I'll take a trip. I'll travel.
Yeah.
I'll do that to just try to get some energy and refuel. However, it's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard. You can't. It's a sacrifice. It's tedious. It's suffering.
Mhm.
It's giving up the things that you want to do a lot of times. And so
Not glamorous.
it's not at all, especially if you're doing it for the right reasons.
Exactly.
If you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, and so I'm curious then, how do you kind of handle, you know, being able to set those boundaries so that you can be able to take care of yourself, but at the same time setting boundaries that, people might not understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because, just like you have a lot of work to do and there's a lot of weight, there's also kind of those expectations that people or church members or other leaders might have or want to place on you. And it's like, how do you kind of set those boundaries where it's like, you can't do it all?
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
got to get to a point where, you can find that power of saying no, not because you're neglecting, but because you're understanding what you can or can't sacrifice.
Yeah, that's a good question. And for me personally, I don't have the problem saying no.
I know that's right.
I guess the problem for me is
Have you always
people
been like that?
understanding the no. Yes,
Okay.
yes, I have. Yeah, no is an easy word for me.
Okay.
It's an easy word, easy sentence. However, the understanding of that no is hard for people because there's a perception of the role of the pastor. There's a
Mhm.
perception of the role of the young pastor. There's
Mhm.
a perception of the role of whatever you are, the son, the grandson, the friend, whatever role you occupy. There's certain expectations you have.
Right.
And so at some point you kind of try to be firm with your no. Because my problem was never saying no. It was just being
Why?
firm with my no.
Why?
Yeah, because there's so many whys in this, and now I'm at the. I think I've grown to the point where I don't explain myself as much. I just be
know
like,
that's
no,
right. No. No does not
No,
need an explanation. You didn't
no,
ask for my yes.
But it's okay. And
Mhm.
and if you do ask why, I might give you an explanation if
He
I
said
feel
I
like
might.
if I feel like it's worthy of one in the moment. But
If you
every
feel
no,
led.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some no's are no for a reason. Some no's are no's with explanations, and some no's are just no's because I said so.
It's funny because I'm reading a book in class called The Pastor, and he literally wrote a letter to his congregation and said, "Help me keep my Sabbath."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "This is the things that I need, and basically don't bother me unless it is an extreme emergency on Sunday afternoon and Mondays. Mondays was his day, like, don't ask me to do nothing. Can y'all help me?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I've never seen that in our culture.
Because they don't want us to have it.
Self-care is just not a thing in our culture. Being busy is a badge of honor.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so backwards in other faith communities because they don't play with their Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
But soon as you say, I can't do it,
Get me a
What?
cross
Yeah.
and nail me to it. But the thing about it is, for so long, our churches have operated in this model of what I can do gives me honor before God and before the people and before the church. And so the pastor, excuse me, he had to do, or she had to do everything.
Everything.
And if the pastor did not do everything, the pastor was not worthy enough to be the pastor. And I think that the church still feels that way about the pastor. Like, they don't understand that sometimes you do got to concentrate before you stand up to preach. So if they ask you, don't bother them 10 minutes before service starts so that they can focus in on getting the word ready for you. I had one of my pastor's aid members said they wanted to stand by my door to make sure nobody bothers me for 10 minutes before service. And they did it. And one Sunday we had somebody about to tackle the person outside my door, simply to say hello. Right. And so it's like, it's just this mentality of, I don't want to say entitlement, but of entitlement in the church.
It's almost privilege.
Because we want to grab the pastor and we want access to them in every single way.
So then how do we kind of help the people kind of understand that relational and emotional cost of leadership, of ministry? Because I think, like, to go along with that letter, I think part of it is them simply not knowing or being ignorant of the full depth of the weight that leaders are dealing with, ministers are dealing with, pastors are dealing with, to the point where if there's a way to kind of help convey that to them so they can kind of understand that, that could probably help them have some more empathy, some more grace when it comes to being able to, okay, yeah, let's pray for the pastor. Let's make sure we're giving pastor the breaks that he needs, the rest that he needs, the time to himself to kind of, have that.
Well, here's a caveat though. Because you're young.
Oh,
you're
I can't
young.
get tired.
You're young. You ain't tired. You young. What you mean?
I can't get tired. I'm too young to be tired. But that's I think the first level of teaching is letting people see the reality of all of our situations, right? I think we have to go back to pull in a little bit of Baptist polity, because I'm a Baptist boy. We got to get back to the fundamentals of what my denomination believes of the universal priesthood, right? That each one of us have this access to God and this relationship to God and this responsibility to God. And so the same way you need a break, pastor need a break, right? And a part of the problem is, for a large portion, the church ain't never took a break. So of course they don't expect a pastor to take a break.
Until COVID happened.
And then everybody
had to sit out.
And now everybody's still on break.
Right.
But they want the pastor to be on every single Sunday.
Go time.
Everybody else take a virtual Sunday.
Right.
But if pastors say we're going to take a virtual Sunday and just do a recorded service, I ain't giving this week. I ain't coming this week. I ain't coming all month. All right.
Why do you think some of the younger pastors, middle age, are walking away from church?
I have multiple theories about that question.
Okay. What are two?
Well, one, because they personally don't see the reward of it. I think that is it's hard to say it, but they don't see the reward of it. Because when many young pastors are going into the role, they're going into it as a vocation. Like, this is a job, right? Not only is this their calling, but this is their job.
Yeah.
And most churches, of course, aren't they can't pay you enough for actual, livable salary. The churches sometimes aren't in the best shape to receive leadership that is relevant for the time, which leads to what I believe is the second biggest reason many are walking away. They don't see the reward when they got to fight as much of a battle that they have to fight. Right? So you see a lot of younger, middle-aged pastors just going and starting churches. When we got a whole bunch of churches with established histories, budgets, and all of these things, people that they could come in and they can nurture and they could take to the level in which they see. However, they just go start their own because they wouldn't want to fight the deacon board, the trustee
Yeah,
board, whatever
I've heard
boards
that
that are
before.
there.
Remember I
And
told
so
you that?
those are the two reasons why I see most people walking away.
Yeah.
I've seen a pastor be installed in January, be out of the church by November.
I know you lying. What?
That's
Wow.
I know people that's been in the church for a month or two, and before installation was there, gone. Because I'm not fighting this board.
No, seriously.
I'm not
I
doing
was
this.
told that, if you are looking not to have to deal with all that, just go start your own.
Mm-hmm.
Go start your own because it's too much. If you don't have the bandwidth for that type of environment, go start your own. And I think, honestly, being put into a leadership of some churches that have had pastors for decades, I honestly think that's a calling within itself, because you have to learn how to lead a flock that's already been led. That's, if you don't have the spiritual gifts for that, like, you aren't going to make
going to
it.
struggle. And
Yeah.
You're always going to have that sense of comparison over your head unless you come right in and instill, like, this is what it's going to be. This is how we're moving forward. But to your point, I think that's probably part of the concern that we have now, is that we have a lot of these vacant churches
Mm-hmm.
with these vacant pulpits, and you have people that are qualified but are rather going to start their own and try to plant, and you have all these new plant churches, and then you have all these traditional churches that are just sitting there trying to survive. They can't fill the pulpit.
Pretend, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so the church that I pastor, the pastor before me, he was there for 48 years. He was there for 48 years, and then he retired, and then it was 5 years before I got there.
Okay.
And so that's a long time
Did
with
you
one
feel
form of
the
leadership.
shift since that was a 5-year gap?
I mean, what do you mean by that?
Because,
question?
as soon as somebody leaves and they bring somebody right in, like,
Mhm.
their mindset is still in the old.
Mhm.
But if you have that time and you're kind of excited and waiting for something new to happen after 5 years, I think people would be a little bit more open to whatever. Or are they used to
So
old?
I'll say, for in my case, I have a blessed case
Yeah.
that people became open as I
Okay.
got there.
Okay.
However, still to this day, even almost 2 years after me being there, we are still very much doing church as we've done it for 48, 50 years.
Right.
Because most of our membership, now we are shifting, our membership is beginning to shift and people are starting to see it differently. But for the most part, most people still be like my pastor and talking about Pastor Turner. And I don't take any offense to it. I was just at a service the other day, no lie. And somebody was, introducing one of the groups from our church, and they said, this ministry is coming from the Second Baptist Church of Homestead, where Pastor Donald Turner is the pastor. And then it was like, oh yeah, I met Pastor Laphon. And no way do I take offense to that.
You're so
I don't
good,
think that's
'cause I've
offense.
been like,
because
shade.
because these people this is the only pastor some of these people know.
Okay. I'll
Right.
give
This
you
is
that.
this person baptized me 45 years ago, and that's the only
all
pastor
they
I've
know.
ever known.
That's true.
And
just
so it's
petty.
like it's
I'm not
nothing to
there
be
yet.
but that's the traditions in which we live in.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I mean, I don't feel like I have to live in the former pastor's shoes.
Mhm.
I just walk in my own space though. And you just have to be confident in your own identity to be able to do that. That's the beauty of that call that you were talking about, to come into a church where that pastor's
Yeah.
been there decades. You just got to be confident in who you are, confident in your call,
Mhm.
right? That going back to the topic of beyond the call. your calling is really based on being so confident in what God called you to do, right? I can go into any space. I'm actually successful in most spaces I go into because I'm simply confident in who God called me to be.
Oh,
And I think that's really good. And that kind of segues into kind of another topic I want to dive into. It's kind of once you get out of kind of that newness of ministry, right? So, we're now a year licensed.
Mhm.
You've been, pastor for over a year now. So kind of that newness, that freshness is gone. What are those things that kind of now sustain you? Because I feel like a lot of times what if we're honest, it could get to a point where that passion or that drive or that freshness kind of might fade a little bit. And then now it's like trying to battle sustaining and being in that moment and continue to keep that flame ignited and not see what you're doing as just a vocational job or as just, an obligation or responsibility. So like I'm curious, like now, from your perspective, what are those like rhythms and habits that you kind of put into place to kind of help sustain you as you're going through?
My sustentation comes from my prayer life. One,
mhm.
I'm a prayer warrior. I'm a prayer person. I pray consistently, and so my prayer life. And I know that's a little cliche, but for real, my prayer life is what sustains me mostly. But then also, I want to say is the idea of like I really don't think they're I don't want to not be new, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I keep on thinking of innovative ways to do church, to do what we do every single week, just so that it still feels new. We're trying new things all the time. And sometimes we try it once
Yeah,
because it didn't work out.
right.
And that's perfectly fine, but we tried it. One of my friends, Reverend Penner, he's a youth pastor down in Atlanta. He introduced me to this book. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it talks about the theology of play, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm.
and this idea of you got to continue. Like a part of faith is that idea of keep on imagining,
Yeah.
keep on having that courageous childlike faith that keeps you in the innovation of God, right? God is continuing to reveal himself. God is continually do new things. We're continually to do new things then. And so that's how I keep it. I keep on going because the newness never dies.
That's
We're still
good.
new. This
Yeah.
Friday we're having a 7 objects of crucifixion service on Good Friday in the evening.
Mm.
And so the pastors are going to be preaching like from the perspective or from the idea of the different objects in the crucifixion
Oh
story,
my goodness.
like the coins, the cross, the
The cro-
blood, the tomb, all of these different aspects, something that most churches
Yes.
have never done or
No.
heard of before
No.
because we hear the seven
Seven
last
last
words every
words
year,
every year.
right?
Yes.
So to do something different, we're bringing it in. We're introducing them to something new. We're doing our Beyond the Grave service again. It still feels new. Everybody is excited.
Yeah.
And so that's what I just keep on trying to figure out something new.
That
Because God is always doing a new thing.
we literally were talking about writing in one of my classes about different perspectives, and one of them was there's a poem about the role of the tree, and it ended up being the cross
Mhm, mhm.
for Jesus. And so when you said that, that sounds interesting.
Man, yes,
What
ma'am. So
time?
come
No,
on out.
what
Good.
Good
time?
Friday,
time?
7 o'clock, Second Baptist Church of Homestead, 108 West 12th Avenue,
Who
Homestead,
you
PA.
got on the lineup?
We have Reverend Brian Carswell Flanagan of the Mount Olive Baptist Church of Coriopolis. We
Okay.
have Reverend Keith Caulfield from the Ann Ashley Community Church and Homestead Presbyterian Church. We have Reverend A. Marie Walker of the St. John Baptist Church of Wilmerding. We have Pastor Courtney Meadows of the Central Baptist Church of Pittsburgh. We have Pastor June Jeffries of the New Life Baptist Church of Apollo. Who else? We have Reverend Kim Barber, one of the associate pastors at the Morning Star Baptist Church of West Mifflin. And then I think that's all. Oh, and myself. And so
I'll get
we're
some
going to be
Okay.
looking
houses.
forward to a good time in the Lord.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sounds
Friday
Y'all
at
pull up
7.
on us. Pull up
We
on
had
us.
right. What's the address?
108 West 12th Avenue, Homestead, PA.
Mm-hmm.
This Friday.
15120.
This Friday,
This
7
Friday,
o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Got something to do.
We have
Come
something
on,
We
to
got
come
do.
something to
on, come
do.
on.
That's good. And I think that's real good. So we get to the point where we kind of lose that desire to want to be creative and want to be innovative, because sometimes leaders can get so caught up in the possibility that it could go left, or the how it might be received
Mm-hmm.
by their congregation. And I'm curious, how much of knowing your flock and kind of knowing their spiritual journey plays a part in kind of what you might want to implement or try to make change, or try to be creative with certain things in mind.
So I think that is a crucial aspect of pastoral ministry, or all ministry actually. You got to know the context in which you're ministering or serving.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the ministry that I try to do is, while we call it innovative, it's not really innovative. It's like that Sankofa stuff. You just go back and fetch the old traditions and just, do a little new, and it makes it feel like it's fresh and new.
Yeah.
And so from my understanding of what the church has always been, especially the Black church in our community, it's always been that source that gave our people anything that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we always put a spiritual flair to it.
Yeah.
We always put Jesus at the center of it, but we gave our community anything that they needed.
Right.
And so that's what I think about whenever I'm trying to develop programming, when I'm thinking about how can we impact our church and our community. I'm looking amongst the people. I'm sitting amongst the people. I'm asking amongst the people. So just maybe a few months ago, one of the young ladies in our church, she was sitting in our church, and God told me to ask her, what does she do? She told me that she was a legal assistant, and I was like, okay, well, how you see God using you here?
Mm-hmm.
She said she don't know yet, but she gonna pray about it. I said, okay, I'm gonna pray about it too. Within the next month or so, I had about 5 people in our congregation come up to me and ask me about wills, medical directives, how do they get their affairs in order, and all of this stuff. And I'm like, what can we do? And so I said, well, you probably need some lawyers.
Yeah.
And so I went, and I remember having that one conversation with that young lady in our congregation. And those 5 people that came up to me, went up to her, told her an idea. Within, I don't want to say 24 hours, because it was quicker than that. It was like within 3 hours. She had a whole proposal for me of Will's Clinic that we just had at the church at Second Baptist last weekend. And we had over 40 people getting advice on living and last wills, medical directives, power of attorneys, all of that stuff.
Wow.
We partnered with the Thomas Klein School of Law at Duquesne University.
Yes.
And we had even their law students literally sit down and do the paperwork with some of our seniors, our low income seniors. And people were literally able to leave with notarized papers that they stuff is in order. Right? That is something that is not being done. A lot of our people die with their affairs not being in order. And then spiritually, we deal with the repercussions at the funerals when families are fighting.
Cutting up.
Right? But we've done the work of ministry early. We've done the work because we listened to what the people needed. We saw the expertise of the congregation.
Yeah.
And we heard the voice of God saying, no, you don't just need blessed assurance. You need insurance.
You need blessed
living
insurance.
wills. You need all of that. Right? And so pulling all that together helps us be creative in different ways. But it's just stuff we've always done. We always had things at the church that we just needed.
Yeah.
That's how we got it.
I think it's important to know the needs of your congregation in order for there to be programming. And the only way that you're going to know the needs is being directly in touch with them.
Exactly.
And so that is that's another pastoral gift because, everybody's not a people person. They're like, I'm here to preach.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So.
And I think, and there's a lot that you touched in that. And like I said, part of it is, having the connection with your people and knowing your people. A part of it is being humble and willing enough to allow the people to utilize their gifts
Mm-hmm.
to kind of bring that sense of what it truly means to be the church. And to have different people that have gifts that can bring that can lead to different ministries and programming where it doesn't have to be something that the pastor leads or the pastor oversees, and kind of having that trust and that leadership to be able to say, okay, you have these gifts, we have this need, let's accomplish this need by utilizing your gifts. And I think a lot of times we kind of miss that because we're so focused on trying to identify programming and ministries, but not really checking to see if these are the ministries that are necessary or needed or actually going to benefit, the church and, the people that we're serving.
I'm going to take it a step further. You also have people in leadership who see other churches doing something and they're like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to bring that over here. But does your church need it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do they want it? And I think seeing other people and being inspired by their programming is good. But I feel like sometimes it's the cheap way out.
100%.
And you're not really rolling up your sleeves and finding out what the needs are. You seen somebody else do it, so you want to do it because it worked for them. But it may not work for you.
Mm-hmm. And I think the major thing that is the problem for many of our churches is we still operate in that mindset of their church, our church, rather than the church, right? Because instead of being so inspired most of the time to say, oh, the church down the street is doing this, we need to do it, instead of being like, oh, let's call them and see how we can support this.
That's so good.
Right? Because too many of our churches, like, all right, I might get in trouble. I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. Because it frustrates me. Because we think about all of these churches, for example, that are having these 7 last word services, for example. We're all having these same services.
They're about 50, 11, 7 last
all
words.
at the same time. All the same churches.
All the same time.
Using the same preachers.
Same preachers.
Right. Instead of saying, okay, let's strategically think about impact areas that we need to have, access areas, right? And let's send all our churches come together and say, all right, y'all in this community could come together. These churches in this community come together and strategically place it so that we can utilize the best effort that we can to evangelize our community.
How about take it out the church?
Right. Right. Let's do something different. How about instead of having service, let's go serve the homeless in Pittsburgh. Right.
Let's do a block party at 7 last
let's
words.
Let's instead of replicating the 7 last words on the cross, let's replicate when Jesus sent the saints out 2 by 2.
Yeah, any of that. You can do production. You can put on a play. You can,
and there's so many ways to impact people, right? But we all try to house everything ourselves. Really, everybody's just trying to hold another service so they can have another offering.
Come on.
But the problem becomes, what is the goal and intention of why we're doing behind what we're doing?
Here, does your church even want a 7 last words?
Yeah. Do people even come?
Do people come, or is it just the choir and everybody who has to be there?
And you're saying
it's just and I hate to say it like this, but I'm gonna say it. It's the 7 preachers, 7 cousins that are in the church. Right? At most churches. Now, some of them, of course, they get the great lineups and they get packed churches, all of those things, whoop-de-woo, right? But most churches...
That becomes performative.
And it becomes very performative and competitive.
It does. That's...
Instead
anytime
of
I got to learn in class how to properly do the 7 last words and make sure that if so-and-so is hooping before you, you don't gotta hoop. Like, the fact that we even have to have that conversation, there's a deeper problem, because that the misidentity of the leaders, and they everybody gotta do what everybody's doing. It's very performative.
Very, very.
It is. I've been to way too many where it's like you said, one person hoops, the next person got to do it, or one person shouts, the next person got to do it, or you got people that take it as their one shot to preach in the pulpit, so they have a full sermonic
Going over the
Sunday
time.
service.
Listen,
Preaching manuscript and
don't go over the time in
They
my
going
church. I'm
over
turning
the
the mic
time.
off.
Are you like the
I
Oscars
turn
and you
the
turn the
mic
music?
off.
Oh, you turn the
Look.
mic off.
I get 30 seconds prior. You hear the music.
and you know
It's your
and
7-minute mark.
Sit
that's
down.
it. That's it. And even to that extent, like, it won't even be so bad if like there was some type of commonality between the 7
That 7
words.
objects is
Like the 7 objects, that is
Yes.
such a powerful kind of idea.
Innovative.
Because it's innovative.
It's
it
different,
culminates,
it's fresh.
different, it's fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would tell you the other ideas that we're going to be doing in the next couple of years, but I don't want nobody to
No,
take
no,
them.
don't say that.
don't say it.
Don't do it, because
No,
you
but
know
we'll
people.
talk after the cameras go off.
Yeah,
because we
'cause you
want to
know
do
people taking
innovative
notes.
things that help us actually meet people where they are. That's the goal.
You have to,
Right.
because there's so much going on right now. Now is not the time to sit there and play musical chairs and try to grab everybody and not know like what the needs are. And then, oh, they're doing a turkey drive, we're going to do one. People, there is so much going on
So much.
in these congregations, communities, households, that it's almost scary that they don't want to go to church because they don't feel safe there.
Mm-hmm.
And you just see it time and time again. All this deconstructing on TikTok and all of the church hurt and all the things. And this is the time when leaders need to do some inner reflection and really say, like, how am I going to show up in this situation? Because it's bad out here. It's bad. And the fact that the church is dying on top of all of the things of what people are going through, like, it's just a downward spiral, and somebody has to be the one to take the charge and turn it around. Laphon.
No. It's all of us. All of us. No, but yeah, you're right. I think that's so essential, because if we don't come together, if we don't do it, let's be honest. If it's the generation of now.
Yeah.
It's every generation. If we look at every movement, every generation needs a younger generation that comes and
That's
says
good.
it's time to do things differently.
That's good.
Right? We always we rave about the civil rights movement and how black folk was trying to advance, but it wasn't adults out there marching across the bridge in Selma. It was students, because the adults said, I ain't missing work. Y'all ain't making me lose my job. Right? But it was people that said, okay, I don't actually mind if we get suspended. I don't mind if we get put out. Right? But it was always young people who took the charge.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's going to take now. Young people of courage, people of faith.
Yeah.
That's why I really believe now is a very crucial time for us, especially those of us in our age group or our age category that can grab hold of some of our younger brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
And help them see the light of Jesus Christ. Help them truly see the reward of true faithfulness, right? Because if our young people don't see the hope of life,
they're dying out. They killing themselves.
Because there's no value
There's no
for life.
hope.
There's no hope.
And that's why I think platforms like this are important, because it lets people know, like, we hear everything that you're talking about, everything that you don't like. Let's address it. Let's put it out there, because it's just so taboo not to say anything. But if you really want change, like, transparency is the most important thing. And these kids are not built for all of the things that they're dealing with right now, and they're dying off left and right. And they get happy when they live past 25, 21. So I mean, things have to change, and we need to figure out what's working and what's not working. But it starts with the head.
Yep. And the church has to be open to receive them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In spite of.
Yeah.
Like with whatever. Right. And I think that's the beauty of Holy Week, that we literally see that with Jesus. Right?
Yeah.
That no matter what, like, yes, there's going to be people who deny you. Yes, there's going to be people who betray you. But at the same time, you still got to invite them to the table, wash their feet, serve them, and still know that they're going to turn their back on you. Right?
Like you
still know they're going to fall short and mess up. But we still create space for you. We still open. We still invite you.
Yeah.
And
that's the most important
That's the
part.
hope of this week.
Yeah, that's real. And it comes back to, stop always saying they're the church for tomorrow. Like, they're the church of today.
Yep.
And we got to, again, start thinking with the mindset of how we can reach them and how we can support them and how we can make them feel like this is what they need, and show them that better way of living. And I think part of that comes with being able to know them and be on their level and be able to support them and show up
100%.
and have things that's going to gravitate to them. If you're constantly like, okay, this is how I'm doing youth ministry, this is the things that we do. Yeah, we'll go on a couple field trips.
And that worked for me
And
back in the day.
and that's it. Back in the day, that works because it's like, oh, we hardly ever get to go anywhere. Oh, now we're going all these places. But now it's like,
That ain't enough.
They
Get to
got
go
phones, they
everywhere.
got social media, they got bus pass, they can go where they want. But what are those things that can really bring them in and help them feel like they could be supported? And if we're, shutting them down every idea that they have, or, we're looking at them sideways and we don't have a place for them to be involved in the worship experience or to have a voice in certain things that's going on in the church, they're not going to feel that welcoming or that desire to want to be a part of that. Because at the end of the day, they want to still feel like they have a voice.
Yeah.
And part of feeling like they have a voice is truly having a voice.
And I think that's something very important for the church that we need to start clinging to real closely. Relationship, right? That's the biggest part of why we've lost so many in the church, because we criticize before we build relationship, like we chastise before we build relationship. We do everything before we even say hello. What's your name? We talking about, oh, your dress too short. Oh, what? Pull up your pants. Oh, this, that. Well, hello.
How are you?
Right? Like that can go further, right? And I think that if the church gets back to fundamentals, like
Come on.
fundamentals of being kind, being compassionate, loving, being patient with one another,
Absolutely.
all of those good things, the basics, right? If we got those things together, I think the church would hit a revival instantaneously.
So quick.
But we just are so hard-hearted, stiff-necked, religious, just sometimes evil people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of church hurt that gets swept under the rug.
Yeah.
And, they don't, we were literally talking about this before, they're not as trusting. So then there's that gap. And when you have people who actually need a relationship or community, you have people over here like, I'm not going down that road again. And that's where the deficit is, because if we truly address church hurt, narcissism, and whatever that goes on in these churches, then maybe we could get somewhere and bring people together to have better, deeper conversations and relational aspects that we just don't have right now. It's like we don't talk about
Mhm.
all the stuff that goes on outside of our house.
Yeah.
And
We
I,
don't do that.
I
Yeah,
think
you're
that
right.
goes back to, what you said this before. It goes back to where's that level of transparency and that sense of humanity when it comes to what's being taught and what's being preached.
That's important
Because
too.
if you're not having those conversations and preaching those relevant, relatable topics, then they could easily gloss over the importance of fundamentals, the
Yeah.
importance of that
Mhm.
foundation, those Bible basics, because again, sometimes knowing and telling yourself about yourself is needed for some people to wake up and really realize and see that. Like, and I think that's it. That's how revivals used to be. Like
Mm.
you actually were getting revived, and you was actually, birthing and refreshing, not just trying to get you know, uh, the best preacher to come out and shout you happy.
Mhm.
You have churches that actually preached about actual issues and relevant topics, things that are going on. Like,
Mhm.
could you imagine if you had a preacher get up and preach about, forgiveness and how people got problems forgiving? That's
Mhm.
half your church hurt right there,
Mhm.
right? Have people talk about, other types of issues or concerns, doubting Thomas, like things that actually
Yeah.
are real and they're actually
Mhm.
dealing with. And now it's like, okay, now you're putting biblical scripture and teaching to things that they're actively needing to deal with and address. That's going to be what helps create change
Mhm.
and helps, get them to have that, that mindset shift. And I think we need to get back to kind of that,
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I agree with you. The only thing is, right now, our issue is because I'm a part of the people that understand the church hurt community.
Mhm.
However, at the same time, the difference between church hurt in prior generations and church hurt in modern generations is before you would get church hurt and come back,
Mm.
so that even if there was a hurt at some point, we were going to find a way to heal because we were still occupying the same space together.
Like, hey,
Now
God, go
in
back.
generations today,
Mhm.
we hurt and we leave
Take it
and
to
we never
TikTok.
close it.
Nope.
We never come together to even seek healing because, to be honest, if you just get hurt and run away, you ain't ever going to heal.
That's the
Yeah.
truth.
yeah.
And so yes, I'm with you that we got to preach it, we got to teach it, but one, we got to be open to hear it,
I
Yeah.
hear that.
right? We got to be open to say, I was hurt, but I also need to heal.
Mhm.
Right? That's the first thing. Whenever I have conversations with people that say they church hurt,
Jesus and
I'm be
therapy.
like, are you healing?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you willing to heal? Now, I can name your church hurt. I can agree. I've been church hurt too. But have you taken the time to heal?
Let me tell you this. I was at a conference and Reverend Tracy Blackman said Jesus was resurrected in a wounded body.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't already healed
Mm-hmm.
and he was still out there doing ministry. So if you are bleeding, if you've been cut, you have to learn how to manage your wounds so you won't bleed over everybody and not let your wounds
That's right.
manage you. And I thought that was so profound because we don't look at Jesus's body whenever we are thinking about the resurrection. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, he rose. Thank you, Jesus.
No,
But
look at
no,
these holes in my hand.
that man was still healing.
Mhm.
Still actively healing.
So I thought that was so important.
And he was healing in a place that killed him.
I thought I was just sitting there like, yes, and people need to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Come
And
back.
That's it. That's it. They gotta come. We gotta come back.
Come back.
Because that is the hardest part. Is we try to handle everything in isolation, and when we handle it in isolation, we come to all of these different conclusions that lead us into more chaos.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that God shows us this in the way that He comes to be with us. that the only true redemptive act that can really save is community.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You're right.
That you can't heal, you can't be redeemed, you can't do any of the positive things of life outside of community.
Do you have a lot of younger people willing to be in leadership roles at your church?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So yeah, I have a lot of young people who are, let me say, they are capable of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
They might even do exceedingly well in leadership, and they might even desire to a little bit, but their desire not to be a part of the church systems is greater.
Okay.
And so it's hard to battle tradition in traditional churches. And so a lot of people just be like, I'll just stay outside tradition and just do what I can where I can.
What are the voices of the younger people saying to you?
So what we are battling over in our neck of the woods is simply the fact that church always just happened back in the day. Right? We had, I don't want to call them, because they're not all storefront churches, because we've had great large congregations, and they weren't storefront. However, they operated very just by happenstance. But our generation, we're kind of a little bit more business savvy, and we're a little bit more systems based. And systems just help things flow a little better.
Yes, they do. As our organizational leadership is a spiritual gift, yes, administration, I believe in it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so what a lot of our younger voices need and desire is a little bit more systems, organization. And we're trying to shift that way. But our church was, we're a little old school. And I mean, it's okay. We're moving along with time. We're advancing. But let's be honest. I can be honest. I'm gonna be honest. we a little old school. Like, but before I got there, we wasn't even collecting people's email addresses.
Listen.
We were still doing everything by snail mail. So I'm just saying, it takes time to get up there. It takes time. And so now whenever
the famous
email,
line is, "We gonna believe God." Hey,
it's gonna work out.
No system.
It's
we
gonna
just
work
gonna
out.
believe God.
God gonna work it out.
What about
After a
some
while.
faith and works?
Faith and works.
No, but I think that's one of the major things for our young adults.
Yeah.
They just want to see us like, I would love to be more involved, but I need it to be like systematic. And we got to kind of boost up our programming.
Okay.
We're starting to see a lot more families come, a lot more kids come. And so I'm trying to figure out more discipleship programs for our young people throughout the week so that we can effectively disciple families in a more effective way. Because our ministry went from seeing around 5 to 7 young people in youth church a week to over 25 to 30. And so we're trying to figure out how we can disciple families and get them in and get them acclimated really
What do you
quickly.
think drew them?
Right now,
Yeah.
reluctantly, I hate to say it, but a younger pastor.
Yeah.
A younger pastor is what's drawing a lot of
Identifying something that's connected to them. Yeah.
And family is, we got families coming.
Yeah.
We got families. Our church, one of the beautiful things I always say is we have literally old and young people joining like simultaneously.
That's good.
And so it's like there's this 80-year-old that's coming to join by Christian experience, this 50-year-old that wants to be baptized, and there's 8-year-old that wants to be baptized.
I think that's beautiful.
And so I like to see the full range of what God is doing in the diversity of our community. White, black.
Yeah.
We're working on the other nationalities. And so God is good.
Okay. That's exciting. I'm excited for all the things that you have going on. I think thinking outside of the box for this generation is going to be so important because, this generation is innovative and you got to keep up with the times. So I think it's important to stay in that mindset of innovation.
I agree. And I think there's really something powerful when you can start to tap into that sense of curiosity. And I think, especially with the younger adults, when you can balance the innovation and the different perspectives with that sense of curiosity, that's kind of what's going to pull them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the authenticity and the relational aspect that's going to keep them.
Absolutely.
And then it's the consistency that's going to
Now
sustain
that part
them.
is difficult, but
But
with the consistency.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because honestly, if you plan all of your efforts in connecting and bringing them in, and then you neglect
How
the
to keep 'em.
efforts in keeping them,
Mm-hmm.
then a lot of that work is going to, unfortunately, be in vain unless, God willing allows them to find what they're looking for on the ladder, or they have that sense of curiosity is enough to keep them to stick with it. But that's where you run into that danger of, what what do you have? What are you offering that's keeping them, that's growing them, that's developing them, and that's allowing them to be involved?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it's one thing to have, a younger pastor and to have some ministries that align with their spiritual gifts. And then it's a whole nother thing, and I talked about this on the last one, a whole nother thing to actually see people that look like me in my age range that are actually actively leading some of
Mhm.
these different things that's going on, because it shows we're not just a part, but we have an active voice, we have an active leadership role in kind of, you know, how we're growing and building and developing.
And I think that is so important because I think it goes to the importance of seeing people grow,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I think our one of the beautiful things about our ministry is we're not really in house concerned about how many,
Yeah.
right? Like it just so happens that many people happen to come,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our goal is to say, okay, if we just impact one or two of our young people in this, we can see that they're growing deeper, then we've had something successful here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so since we start measuring our success that way, we've seen that the numbers just happen to come with it.
Right.
Because once you see one or two young people now have an orientation of faith, whenever, we're in this biblically illiterate society, don't nobody
Yeah.
even know basic Bible stories or scriptures, and our young people
Tell 'em.
can grab random Bible stories and relate them to real
Mhm.
things in life.
Yeah.
That's success
That's
to me.
success. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't need 100 kids upstairs. I just need 5 that know it that got what they
Yeah.
got. They're being
Yeah.
disciplined. They're being discipled. And now those 5 got 20 others with them now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I believe that's how the work of ministry takes place. That
Quality
that
over
quality,
quantity.
yeah.
Yeah.
That quality of saying we want to. That's what I say at Tech Baptist. We're building disciples here.
I know that's right.
If you want to be a member, we'll find you another church because we got a whole bunch of member-based churches around. But we are trying to build disciples
Yes.
because disciples make more disciples. It happens. It
Yeah.
happens authentically. We don't care about all the other stuff. We just want to help you grow. We want to help you develop. We want you to be all God called you to be. Because once you are all God called you to be, you'll help
Yeah.
us be all God called
I
us
know
to
that's
be.
right.
And if we all God called us to be, then what a time that
What
would
a
be.
time. What a time.
Well, we about to go see on Friday.
What a time. So let's run this back. So our Kingdom Collab today will then, I guess, be
Second Baptist Church.
of Homestead. So let's run it back. This Friday
This Friday.
we have
Not the 7 last
not the
words.
7 last words.
7 objects of
7
crucifixion.
objects
7
of crucifixion.
objects.
7
objects.
o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Second Baptist Church.
Second
Homestead.
Baptist
Y'all start on
Church of
time?
Homestead, 108 West 12th Avenue, Homestead, PA 15120. Yes, we start on
Start
time.
on time, not 7
Not
o'clock
CP
CP.
time.
Not
7
CP
o'clock
time.
Don't
EST.
try to
Come
come in with
early
the
to
finger
get a
720.
seat.
I know that's
Come
right.
early to get parking in the seat. There's plenty of space on the street, and we got a couple little parking lots that people will be out there to help you park. But Come on in.
Hey.
There we go. And then the Beyond the Grave service.
Beyond
Yes.
the Grave is Tuesday, April 7th.
Okay.
At 7:00 also. Same place.
Same place.
Same place.
Same time.
Same
Same
time.
time.
Just come back.
Come back.
Come back.
Make your plans to be there 2 days.
2 days.
2 days.
Friday
There
and
you go.
Tuesday.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much.
Thank y'all for having me
This
again.
was
I feel
fun.
special for being y'all. Y'all, this is the first one person y'all brought back for part 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
listen. I'm actually, just so y'all know what camera I'm right here. I'm actually the new third host of the show.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here. God
We'll
bless
have
you.
to
No,
we'll
I'm
have
just
to bring
messing.
you in time to time so we can have
Yeah.
some. We need some more space so we can.
Yeah, we gonna it's gonna grow and expand. We got
Hey,
some
we
more
believe.
perspectives.
Listen, I want to say congratulations to y'all. Y'all are doing great work.
Thank
y'all doing great
you.
work. I keep up with the podcast. Y'all had some heavy hitters on here.
Whew.
Presidents of seminaries, big shots,
Yeah.
presidents of conferences, and all of that. Y'all the big
You out
shots.
here doing
But
good
God,
things.
And so
right?
congratulations. I just want to
We
celebrate
see you
y'all.
because you
ministry.
represent for the young Baptist ministers in Pittsburgh. So every time we say, okay, Laphon gonna be there. Okay. Yeah, so congratulations to you,
appreciate y'all. I
too.
appreciate y'all. I love the work you're doing.
Amen.
Amen. Well, there you have it. Another episode of Cross Perspectives. Peace.